What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to break down the pitfalls, what happens under majority of agencies with brands ending up filing for refunds. The biggest bottleneck I see across the board is when you go and rely on agencies for outsourcing your marketing, you typically allow these agencies to want to look good on paper because they're trying to renew you as a client. It's a service-based business. So what ends up happening is majority of agency owners are playing around with interest-based targeting, playing around with different lookalike audiences, and what ends up happening as a byproduct is simply your agency is retargeting customers who've already entered your ecosystem. So what happens is you're paying more dollars to reach that same exact customer who could have bought for free on their second or third purchase simply by dialing in retention strategies on the email front. But when you go fully broad, you're consistently filling your pipeline of new customers, new leads to enter your ecosystem. So with that being said, in today's video, I'm going to break down the protocol necessary to scale without retargeting at all whatsoever. Now, why retargeting customers screws your bottom line is pretty simple. As I covered recently, you are constantly retargeting users who would have bought from your business after a 30, 60, 90-day window. And as a byproduct, right, you're paying more money getting that same exact customer to buy when they could have literally just bought from an email flow that was optimal or optimized. Now, over time, when you're not adding new customers to your pipeline and you're just simply retargeting your existing customer base, most brands are seeing a rise in CPMs. It's more expensive now to acquire that same exact customer that's entered the ecosystem. When in reality, when you go broad and you focus on activities that lift the total performance of your brand, what happens is now, you can scale pretty effectively. You're pushing first order profit and you're successful where most brands are struggling today. So the main thesis is pretty simple. It's still possible to achieve higher valued multiples as a company by just getting majority of your sales through Meta/Facebook while having consistent 6 to 8 figures per year in revenue with consistent growth. The reason why I can make this claim and add this to our thesis is because we've proven it multiple times with different portfolio of brands under management. And after this breakdown, you can inject these profits into your pockets. So with that being said, background to me. Chris Hernandez, founder of ScaleVelocity.io. We have a portfolio of D2C brands under management in which we're helping them build in-house and get to 8 figures in pure profit while being lean and efficient for an exit at a high enough multiple around that 8 to 12 mark. Now, I've created the capital efficient protocol to build in-house as well as finding A+ talent through untapped platforms. Our e-com portfolio did $13 million in revenue in 2022. That was with a total of $1 million in ad spend under management. And then from there, our 2023 projection is $45 million in revenue generated with $10 million in ad spend handled under management. We focus on omnipresent marketing. We operate on all platforms. And as a byproduct of that, we've consulted over 60 plus D2C brands just in 2022 alone. And as a byproduct, I have nothing to sell. This is a disclaimer. We sharing high level principles. This is not a hack, get rich quick scheme, or another dropshipping video. I don't consider myself a coach or simply a guru. I am not an agency owner that works with everyone that runs a DC brand, nor do I outsource to kids fresh out of school. This is advice coming from millions of dollars spent under management across multiple D2C industries. Every founder journey is not the same. Variables are always changing, and there's always many roads that lead to Rome. But with this video, with this PDF, here are the direct response principles. Most brands operate at a net loss on the front end and bank on LTV for profit. This is 2020 COVID methods. Whereas brands that are succeeding today acquire first order profit. When you have first order profit on the first initial customer purchase, this allows you to have capital efficiency towards expansion. You have cash flow and you now can organize and utilize it properly to fit your needs on what actually needs to be taken to expand to the next horizon for your company. Most SaaS companies don't outsource their sales or marketing. So why does every D2C founder outsource their marketing? This is your edge when you're trying to compete against your market in today's economy. Having the skill sets to build in-house and ultimately how to utilize each platform accordingly. And as a byproduct, when you're on multiple channels as an omnipresent marketer, you have optimal hedge as you're making bets. The more diversified you are from specific platforms, the more likely you can sustain shutdowns or even unexpected bottlenecks within your company. This could be where, let's say, your Facebook ad account gets banned, but you're still spending heavy amounts across YouTube ads and across Google ads while Meta's getting fixed, right? These kind of objectives allows you to hedge your bets and ultimately find profit no matter any time of the economic season. Now, what happens to 90% of the market? Well, they followed 2020 ad strategies during the COVID era when markets were inflated. They're focusing on pushing one single SKU and acquiring a brand new customer at a net loss and baking out LTV for a profit. They're avoiding tracking solutions. They're measuring success with ROAS. They're firing agencies every quarter. They have ad agencies heavy retarget previous customers. They stunt long-term growth. Founders do not understand measuring success on incremental lift. These are founders who go to OMR, Geek Out, or AdWorld hoping to find their next hack, but they plateau at low 4 digits daily ad spend, dealing with consistent ad fatigue. This is 90% of the market. These are the losers, and they're trying to use TikTok shops as a last resort, or even posting organic content to find new customers for a profit, right? A lot of brands are struggling because they're following terrible principles. This is why back in 2020, anybody could launch a store and find success because competition was very minimal. But in today's economy, there's a way more competition now, and it's very much more so difficult to acquire customers at a profit. But with this protocol, what I'm going to share with you today is what is the 10% of the other market doing that allows them to find success? Well, they're scaling across one single channel and hitting 100K a month in ad spend before diversifying. The winners are going fully broad versus paying higher CPMs retargeting previous customers. Majority of brands that are finding success have the creative flywheel system to pump out 5 to 10 killer ads weekly. Other ad platforms benefit from meta traffic. For example, search volume goes up, email opt-ins, Google sales, increasing ad spend while competitors are pulling back ad spend. The ability to acquire first order profit with a higher AOV bundle, building in-house with lean operations, you only need a team of 6, and then having positive front-end cash flow and also having profitable high LTV for your business. So how do we get there? How do we get to the 10% of the market that's dominating the space? Well, it's pretty simple. Step 1 is focusing on profitable unit economics and simply knowing your numbers. It blows my mind the amount of founders who don't know their exact numbers to a T and if they're even making a profit or not. Now, first things first is when you at scale are handling loads of ad spend on a single channel or you're trying to diversify, you need to have third-party tracking in place. This is either Triple or Northbeam. You need to install your pixel. You need to have Cappy set up on Meta. You need to have Shopify integration. Everything should be in place before actually launching new ads and testing different parts of the sales funnel. Now, with the 2020 COVID strategy, majority of brands try to take their product and force it to be profitable. They're relying on existing customers for revenue. They're testing ABO ad strategies using ad platforms as a stockbroker and then scaling only one single SKU, pushing saturated offers. Well, in 2023, the pathway to scaling requires simplicity. Simplicity scales. So the new way of scaling, simply put, is we cannot lower our NCPA if CPMs are going to continue to rise. We can't lower our NCPA because our manufacturer, we already have a deal set up with them. But what we can do is increase the amount of AOV a single customer is going to buy from our business. Raise the amount spent on every single order from brand new customers, right? That is the new way to scale in 2023. So you have two offer models right here. The option 1 is pushing for high profit. So this is going to be, of course, having your AOV higher than your NCPA to break a profit. Now, in this example right here, this could be a simple bundle where you have a single SKU. You take your other previous history of best performing SKUs, put them into a bundle, and then raise your AOV literally by double from just pushing what you saw in the past with a single SKU. That's bundling from variation number 1. Variation number 2 requires more finesse as you're trying to craft a Grand Slam offer. So for example, you might have the same 3 products, but a Grand Slam offer could look like you buy these 2 products and you get an additional Y in value for free, and you get a free product tied to that. Based off your COGS and your unit economics, this can literally take your brand or your product perceived value through the roof by simply you're giving people more than what they paid for with this no-brainer offer, and ultimately you still have a high AOV. So this was the theory and principle built by Alex Hormozi. The value exchange built by the pricing valuable to the buyer's life equals the total perceived value. For example, limiting the amount of quantity sold similar to Supreme Streetwear brand had hype intensify, had confidence level past the threshold, and exclusivity caused even further momentum for future drops with Supreme Streetwear brand. So this is the factor here, but the main focus is we need first order profit, and we can do that by simply raising our AOV, and as a byproduct, bundling the best winning SKUs, putting them all together for a Grand Slam offer on the front end. Now, option 2 could be more LTV focused, but nonetheless, right, you can make on getting a customer on an introductory evergreen offer and then upselling or downselling them on the back end with custom retention strategies depending on your seasonality, depending on your quarter, right? Now, attribution for tracking. Every ad agency is simply inflating their numbers. Shopify distribution and the amount of sales driven from new customers versus returning customers. As you can see, most agencies retarget just previous buyers to raise their CPAs or raise their ROAS as a successful metric. This approach hurts your bottom line because most brands are in a consistent cycle of dealing with ad fatigue. Whereas if they were to shift their focus to acquiring brand new customers, well, then from that end, you'll never have ad fatigue within your funnel. Now, as a byproduct, we want to measure success, simply put, on incremental lift. What is incremental lift? Well, Meta is known for over-reporting or under-reporting data, and there's compound effects to this, specifically when going broad, right? So when we go fully broad in targeting, we want to measure how a single ad on Meta affects platforms like Google in search volume or even email opt-ins. We want to measure the amount spent on a single platform in correlation to how this affects other channels or other platforms. So this is what it means by measuring specifically with incremental lift, right? You have an ad that runs on Meta, could be not so good profitable ad on paper when it comes to the Meta Ads Manager, but that same exact ad is driving traffic elsewhere within the funnel, raising search volume or raising retargeting ads on the back end of other channels, right? So that's how we measure incremental lift. Now, the downside with interest-based targeting, as I covered before, you have ad fatigue. You need the creative flywheel system in place. You need higher time allocation. You have a higher percentage of human error and destabilization in growth for inconsistent performance at higher ad spends. Now, let's segue into account simplification. How do we scale and how can we automate this process? Well, as I covered already, we want to focus on one single access channel, push a higher AOV bundle, acquire first order profit, and then from there, we want our creative tests done in a controlled environment. So how do we separate this and how do we operate on this structure? Well, this graph right here outlines the total pipeline of how we set up our ad accounts. It's going fully broad in a CBO environment. We push every single AOV bundle inside one campaign with the specific set SKUs. So we launch a separate funnel or a separate AOV bundle. We just put that in a separate campaign. From there, we do our creative tests within the DCT framework. We have one single concept with 2 different variations. We take previous ad copy with the newly revamped ad copy, previous best performing headline with the new headline, winning combination, copy that post ID into the main winning ad set, and then we're just increasing the budget by either 5% or even 10% every 2 to 3 days based off that window. And that really is a simple account structure necessary to scale and handle and go from, let's say, $50 in daily ad spend to then $50K a month in ad spend or $100K a month in ad spend. The result is when you simplify your ad account structure, you can now focus majority of your time to areas within the funnel that's going to lower your NCPA and raise your AOV. I'm talking about the creatives, the landing pages, developing the offers, different product SKUs, different upsells, different downsells, so on and so forth, everything necessary to lower your NCPA. The more you focus on just strategy or how to set up your campaigns or what interest or audience to target. What's going to move the needle regardless is what I just covered, the creatives, the landing page, the offers. That's it. That's all you need to focus on. Now, when it comes to step 3, the creative flywheel system, the biggest bottleneck behind most brands struggling is having consistent ad concepts to test week over week. Now, the creative flywheel system allows a brand to come up with new additional angles, new SKUs, even to tap into unnecessary or uncharted territory when it comes to brand new customers. Creatives equal the lifeline to growth. Outsourcing your creatives won't lead to long-term efficiency, and the majority of founders are too lazy to build the creatives in-house when all you need is a team of 6. Now, the way we go about our creative testing, every single bottleneck at scale from the portfolio of brands under management were the missing variable of unlocking efficiency at scale, which is the creative elements. The best performing creative concepts vary brand to brand, but as of recent, winners have been UGC founder videos, direct response static images, direct response animated GIFs. Creative winnings during ad strategies requires periods of consistent iteration. As you can see here, right, we break down a single 45-second clip by having a thumb stop, hold rate, average watch time, click-through rate, and what was the click-through rate to conversion rate. And then we're constantly making iterations to where we're making changes to the hook or B-roll footage or the call to action or specific angles or different types of videos, right? We have the formats, and then I tagged here creative folder with all up-to-date examples of these different types of creatives. Now, what I covered before with the team necessary to build in-house, the process can be done, but this is ultimately how you build creatives at scale, right? It's doing a ton of market research with all your competitors to see, okay, what formats is already working for them? What are we trying to tap into when it comes to our ideal customer profile? What is the competition's current angles? What has been tested? How does this embark in motion? Example, if we're selling a physically competitive product, it requires more trust via UGC type videos than with also a heavy congruency tied onto the landing page compared to you're selling something in a saturated market and you have no diversity, or you can't skip ahead of that trust, that missing element when it comes to actually finding profit. Now, the second phase is platform hunting. So after conducting market research, it's understanding which format of content needs to be captured. Does this require a model? Can I produce this myself? Do I outsource? This is UGC platforms. They don't offer security, and the same risk can be applied to manual outreach. Now, the third phase, which is brief writing, can you develop a script using ChatGPT or AI tech to come up with content ideas and iterations to the actual script? And then phase 4, which is the learnings, we're evaluating data from previously tested results on the ad front and using the scientific method with our performance KPIs to track success rate. Now, the means. For one single concept, we have 2 additional variations. I spoke on this already, how we break it down from a hook, body, call to action, but you need the creative inventory to pump out 5 to 8 testable ad concepts for every 7 days. The more creative testing done equals the higher ad spend at higher percentage of raising the net profit. 3 total ad variations, 2 ad hooks, 2 variations of ad copy in a CPO environment under creative dynamic tests or DTT. 1 ad with 2 variations. And then from there, we measure success with 4 metrics. And these metrics are frequency, CPM, CPA, AOV. Our attribution window we have is 7-day click, 1-day view at spend sub $1,000 a day. Once we pass $1,000 a day, then we do 1-day click, 1-day view. For Meta specifically, at higher ad spend, attribution will either over-report or under-report data. But also, the reason why we want to have third-party tracking is so that we don't make any false assumptions leading us to screw up the results, right? Now, as far as solutions, triple wall, sub 10K a day in ad spend, that's all you need. And then at higher spends, let's say greater than 10K a day, I highly advise working with Northbeam. But when it comes to step 4, scaling in 2023, it's simply put, the brand that has first order profit has success, and that comes with having the creative flywheel in place to come up with new offers, new bundles every single quarter. More funnels tested every single quarter allows you to take advantage of seasonality. So you might have 1 to 3 high AOV bundle evergreen offers, and you might throw in a couple seasonal offers depending on the quarter. Meta ads can literally be operated on autopilot with automated rules. And this can allow the founder to be taken out of day-to-day operations, expand into also additional access channels like Google plus YouTube ads. And then the main focus here is also, to a certain extent, once you have your front end CPA profitable, you want to dial in your post-click upsells. You want to extend the customer journey with email flows for offer stacking, additional SKUs. You want to have post-purchase surveys integrated, and then you want to focus on building a Facebook community. But our main focus here is having consistent top of funnel traffic from access channels at lower CPMs and at lower CPAs when going fully broad. And of course, at higher spends when diversified across other channels. Overall marketing mix is within the net profit of Facebook might drop, but you're going to see a lift in other areas of like search, email opt-ins, other channels. But the reason why most brands fail is because they lack profitable front-end unit economics and consistent ad budget to train machine learning platform if $5 CPAs kind of swing because there's a net loss. Most brands fail because they lack congruency from the creative to the initial touch point to then checkout, consistent output of various angles. They don't have a creative strategist and editor on board, and they're not utilizing AI tech to build out ideas. And then there's a lack of consistent landing page testing, heavy reliance on retargeting users for all their ad strategies, and you end up screwing your bottom line. Now, for PI true analysis, CPM frequency, CPA and amount spent, of course, our main focus and objective here is we want to make our creative strategist's life easier. So we want to share these data points with CPM frequency, CPA and amount spent. Because when it comes to creating brand new ads, we want to create ads that fill the funnel and not just throw random stuff in hopes that sticks on the wall. So the direction we might need when we have the specific ad strategy I covered, we might need in the main winners ad set, we're missing a creative that's more top of funnel focus, right? The other creatives, let's say, are CPM higher than $15 and the frequency above 1.15. So like majority of our ads are middle funnel, bottom of the funnel. So then we can go with this information and tell the creative strategist we need this angle to be more top of focus or top of funnel focus so that we can get a CPM sub $10 and a frequency between 0.01 to 0.05. So then this ad can fill the rest of the ad creatives as they're more lower tier in the funnel. So that's the way we look at ad creatives is we want to analyze the North Star metrics, but ultimately instead of us throwing random stuff at the wall, we're building from what's already working. Now, the implementation pathway to first order profit is simply put, profitable front-end unit economics, Grand Slam offer, simple ad account structure, creative testing, integrating key areas in-house with a creative strategist, editor, etc. Creative flywheel system, rise in net profit, push ad budget plus other access channels to the arsenal. Expected problems. I mean, validating the offer is probably going to be the biggest challenge. The strategies itself don't match the brand or execution lacks congruency. Far too complicated setup, cheap creatives, lack of interpretation of the results. Creatives are built without structure, without a hook, body, call to action. Founders have shiny object syndrome, negligence in creative post-production, lack of coherent ad strategy, measuring success on incremental lift, and net profit measurements. So you have two options today. You can download this PDF and implement this into your business by pushing front-end high AOV bundles. You can look to now build in-house by yourself, or you can get direct help from me and my team. With that being said, I have worked with dozens of D2C brands. I have a ton of D2C brands and founders under management. Here's some of our most recent testimonials, but here are case studies for days, which I'll share with you on the description down below with this exact doc with all the case studies so that you can review. But the main focus here is we help founders build a house while ultimately getting capital efficient so that if they do want to exit their company, they can exit for an 8 to 12 plus multiple. And you can do this by yourself, but it's going to take you way more time rather than if you just hopped on a call, spoke directly with me, and got started with the exact roadmap and steps necessary. So with that being said, if you're interested, check out the PDF. And if you need help building in-house and getting capital efficiency, if as a D2C founder, feel free to book in on my calendar down below.